Yeah, it's at home. I just remembered it's at home.
Terry, can you hear us? Will Brenton. I can't see because Mark's on.
No,
I turn it back on.
Can you hear it?
both of them?
Whoops.
Or both of them?
Can you hear?
Did you flip both switches? Is it working? Hello? Wait, I don't know what that means.
It was open when I came in, but I don't know. Okay.
What does that
It
mean?
tapped on the mic.
Is that what?
That's what he said.
No? You can't hear? Is that better? Oh, good gravy. Is that better?
All the road noise and siren.
Mr. Roberts, do you hear us?
Thank you.
Alrighty, well, it's 6 o'clock. Are you ready, Terry? We'll call the meeting to order. If you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Can you call the roll, Madam Clerk?
Supervisor Miller?
Yes. Here, I'm sorry.
Trustee King?
Here.
Trustee Carroll?
Present.
Favdar?
Present.
Trustee Burt? Present. Treasurer Clee?
Present.
Trustee Leverett?
Present.
And Clerk Triplett. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any additions or deletions to this evening's agenda? Hearing none, we'll move on. Are there any is there any corrections to the minutes from our last meeting, October 7th? No corrections? All those in favor of approving the corrections from the regular meeting, October 7th, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Those stand approved. We'll go to public comment. If you'd like to address the board, I'd ask that you come to the podium and give us your name, and you'll have 4 minutes to address the board. What does that mean? What's he saying?
Volume up.
Is that better? Jerry, will you talk in the microphone when you come up? We're having issues with the sound.
Testing, 1, 2,
That
3.
works.
Does it work?
Yes,
Real loud.
Okay.
go ahead.
Okay.
Thank you.
My name is Gerald Roberts. Live in Flint Township for 50 years. Mr. Leverett, in the past you've used the podium here for praying.
Oh, yeah?
I'm not going to pray, but I'm going to talk about something. On July the 13th, 2014, I witnessed a miracle. It was in Butler, Pennsylvania. It was when somebody tried to assassinate Donald Trump. I saw divine intervention at that point. What people don't know about this is approximately 3 weeks prior to that, Mr. Trump went into the pits of Detroit, into the hood, to a Baptist or a Pentecostal church. In that particular church, the minister said, "Nobody of any importance comes to in our particular area. How come you came to our church?" And he basically said, "Because I care about you." In that particular church, Donald Trump was anointed by that preacher with the Holy Spirit. His whole congregation anointed him. That particular anointing was the divine intervention, in my opinion, in Butler, Pennsylvania, when an assassin tried to kill him. 25 millimeters. He turned his head for a split second, and the bullet took the top of his ear off. And if he hadn't turned his head, that bullet would have went right straight through his brain. That's not just by chance. I don't know how many millions of people witnessed that, but they witnessed a divine act and a miracle. This happened at 6:11. The Bible speaks of, in Ephesians chapter 6, verses 11 through 20. You need to read that with regard to being anointed by the Lord. He had a cloak of armor around him that nothing could have stopped him at that particular point. Even if that bullet would have hit him direct on, it would have bounced off from that. That's my opinion, by placing the armor of God around you. The assassin came out, and I was told by one of the local officials around here, there was an offshore bank account, which a lot of people can't get offshore bank accounts, for close to $500,000. The cell phone, in other words, that was there, was encrypted. Why would a young kid have an encrypted phone with certain messages on it? This was all set up. He was meant to be assassinated on that particular day. I was listening to, over at my daughter's place in Rockford, Tucker Carlton, who had been taken off the Fox network, had a Christian singer that was on there. There's a singer called M&M's that has 3 top songs with regard to the devil and devil worshiping. They're at the top of the charts. This particular Christian said that the song came to him in the night. He didn't have any major music companies promoting him, but that song is right up at the top with Eminem on those 3 particular things.
Thank you, Mr. Roberts. Your time is up. And I just want to clarify something. You wrote down you said 2014? You meant 2024, right?
I guess I misspoke myself.
All right.
I'm sorry about
That's
that.
okay. I just want to clarify. Thanks.
Yes. July 13th, 2024, I have it written right here.
Alrighty, is there anyone else who'd like to
Thank
address
you.
the board?
Yeah, good afternoon, good evening. Keith Powers. I lived in the neighborhood while born here 67 years. And I just hope you all do everything for the good of the community. Everybody has all the information that they need. Nobody says, I wasn't aware of this, I didn't know about this. That goes on a lot. So that's all I got to say. Just hope you do things right for the community. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who'd like to address the board? Anyone? So we'll close public comment. We'll move on to reports. I don't have much in my report. I wanted to remind everybody that our pickup day for garbage, recycling, and yard waste is Thursdays, and we're asked by the garbage company, Mterra, to put the garbage out at 7 in the morning. You can put it out the night before. We ask that you don't have it out all from the weekend till Thursday. I see that a lot when I drive into work, that people have a lot of garbage out Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Wednesday is acceptable to put it out the night before or the morning of, but they ask that you would have it out at 7 a.m. And the last day of yard waste pickup is going to be the last Thursday of the month of November. So make sure you get your yard waste out and ready. I know that leaves haven't fallen yet, but can't burn leaves, can you? So you want to get those in your yard waste to get out to the trash. I also want to mention, as things are falling from the trees, the little branches or leaves or anything like that, if you have a catch basin in front of your house, we'd ask that you'd help to keep the water flowing that goes into those catch basins by clearing out the debris that's on the catch basins, because it can build up. Other than that, I don't have anything else in my report. Madam Clerk, do you have a report this evening?
We have early voting that will start October 26th from 8:30 to 4:30 in this room. It will go through November the 3rd. Online registration for application deadline was today. We've processed probably a little over, I would say about 8,000 ballots. We probably received over maybe 4 or 5 back. We've had a constant flow, 1,000, yeah. We've had a constant flow of residents coming in voting. We've had up to, in one day, 145 online ballots. So the voting election is going pretty good. We're really busy. as you can see, the office is still open over there. They're still working and processing those ballots. So that's it for me.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Mr. Treasurer, do you have a report this evening?
No, ma'am, I'm just gonna pay the bills in a minute.
Are there any trustee reports this evening? Go ahead.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to say that I know that this is not a question and answer in regards to Mr. Roberts, but Mr. Roberts, I'd just like to make a comment to all of you that that's what it takes to get through this life is the whole armor of God. And then the scriptures say that you'll be able to withstand the wiles of the devil. So that's all I got to say. God bless you.
Is there any other trustee reports? Go ahead, Carol.
I just wanted to let everyone know that there will be a trunk or treat. It's a drive-through on October the 27th. This is a free event with our local first responders and community partners. And there also will be a drive-through haunted house. The time is 3 till 6 p.m. at Shea Automotive,
What day was that?
the 27th.
The 27th?
Sunday.
This coming Sunday. And then trick or treat hours for the 31st are from 5 o'clock to 8:30. Is that right?
5 to 8.
5 to 8. Thank you. Alrighty. Barb, do you have a report this evening?
I do not.
Greg? No. We'll move on to staff report. Ms. Tucker?
Well, Carol just told you about the trunks and treats. We're finishing up getting that ready. Met with the Shea people today, got all the decorations over there to do the haunted house. We also want to thank Security Credit Union for providing $15,000 for candy that we'll be picking up probably, I think, this Thursday. We also had a grand opening for A&D Hospice and Home Health Care in Linden Road. We also had a celebration of Homemade Chocolates by Michelle, her 10-year anniversary, and also she was showing off her new sign and some renovations she'd done to the front of her facility there. She was able to make the investments into her business with the aid of a grant from the Bristol Road CIA, their facade and paving grant. I'm trying to think. I think that's it. Trying to think if there was anything else. I think that's it. Early voting starts Saturday. Yeah.
Alrighty. What's that? Okay, we'll come back. Chief Wangler?
Thank you. Since last board meeting on October 7th, the police department has responded to 1,174 total calls for service. It includes 796 primary calls, 378 backup calls. Over the same period, there were 20 shifts where an officer responded to 15 or more calls in one day, and one shift where an officer responded to 22 calls in one 12-hour shift. A few highlights. During the evening hours of October 12th, Flint Township officers were dispatched to the 4,000 block of Lennington Court for a stabbing. Officers arrived to find a 50-year-old female with severe knife wounds to multiple portions of her body, including her face. Officers provided medical aid and she was rushed to an area hospital where she received treatment for her injuries. Officers quickly determined that the brother of the victim, Edward Markman, was the suspect in this attack. Edward had fled the scene after stealing her personal items and her vehicle. Through tireless investigation that evening, officers tracked him to a residence in Mount Morris Township where he was found hiding in a bedroom. On October 16th, Edward Markman was arraigned in the 67th District Court on these following charges: assault with intent to murder, torture, armed robbery, and assault with intent to maim. He was given a $100,000 cash bond and, as of today, still remains lodged in the Genesee County Jail. He has a lengthy criminal record with multiple police organizations, including prior arrests for domestic assault and battery. On October 15th, after learning about the Genesee County Animal Control housing 44 dogs after an animal neglect cruelty investigation in the city of Burton, your police officers at the police department pulled their money together and went to PetSmart on Miller Road to buy supplies for animal control. PetSmart actually refused to take our money and instead donated food, bedding, and toys that were delivered on the same day. The cash donation from the police officers was given directly to animal control. And then this week, we'll be partnering with the Office of Highway Safety Planning for Operation Safe Stop. This targeted traffic enforcement focuses on school buses picking up and dropping off students with the enforcement being for motorists to stop for the red flashing lights. This is also a statewide campaign. And then lastly, as already described, we will be also taking part in the trunk or treat at Shea Automotive Group this Sunday. And then I just have the public hearing on the agenda for this afternoon for the JAG grant.
Great.
One other thing, I forgot to mention that we did do the mandatory walkthrough for the senior center grant, and we'll be opening the bid packets once we receive them this Thursday at 10 a.m. here.
Thank you. Chief Beckley?
Thank you. Since the last board meeting, your fire department has responded to 45 incidents. And this number includes 8 structure fire calls, 3 vehicle fires, and 2 vehicle accidents with entrapments. Right now, year to date, we are at 1,150 calls. A couple of those highlights over the last 2 weeks. On the 12th, we responded to a vehicle accident with an entrapment, Linden Road and Linden Creek Parkway. The jaws of life were used to extricate 1 victim from that vehicle. On the 16th, we had a couple of structure fire calls. The first one was in the 3000 block of Dayton at Myrtle Grove Mobile Home Park. The office that was in the side of that park caught fire approximately 7:40 in the morning. Crews arrived on scene to find the 2-story building completely involved in fire. We went what we call defensive on that building, and no firefighters entered. We basically let that building burn down and put it out at that point with the assistance of an excavator. If anyone has any information on the cause of that fire, please contact the police department or fire departments as that is under investigation. Also on the 16th, a little later on in the day, we responded to a residential structure fire call on Starling Lane in the Eagle Point Mobile Home Park. We arrived on scene to find smoke and fire coming from the bottom and also a bedroom of the trailer. The fire was extinguished in about 20 minutes with extensive overhaul and damage to that home. On the 17th, we responded to another structure fire call in the 2000 block of Beekman. Luckily, this fire was contained to just an appliance within the home, and after smoke was removed, there was no damage to the actual home. As Supervisor Miller stated earlier, there is no burning leaves in Flint Township. Just a reminder of that as they start to fall, you cannot burn them. They must be disposed of in other ways. And that you do need to call for a burn permit. Again, 810-732-4413. Call the day that you are actually going to be burning before you burn to obtain that burn permit.
And that's just a verbal, right?
That's correct. Yep. And if for some reason the firefighters do not answer, they are probably out on an emergency call, as those do get answered by our on-duty firefighters after hours. So. Leave a message with your contact information. They'll call you back as soon as they can. But if they don't answer, that's probably why. On the 17th, our Fire Station 1 was visited by Governor Whitmer, Governor Tony Evers of Wisconsin, Congressman Kildee, and several other visitors. They toured our station apparatus and spoke with several of our personnel. We did have several members of the board on site as well, so thank you for coming. They dropped us off some cider, donuts, and just had some good conversation for about a half an hour. So it was a good event. And just to update everyone, our ladder truck went in last Wednesday afternoon for repairs from the accident that it was involved in earlier this summer. Is anticipated to be gone for about a month, most likely. I've already received some photos from them. They're moving along nicely. They haven't encountered any more damage than what they anticipated, so that's good. Hopefully, it'll be back even sooner. But that will be out for the next 3 to 4 weeks, I would say. And we have no action items on the agenda this evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Treasurer, you said you had something?
I was just going to say, I'm sorry, back to the zoning board of appeals meeting. We had board of appeals last week, and it was for a gentleman getting a new structure on his property, and he needed to get a variance for, and one of the agreements is that he would tear down an old concrete block building that was on the property in order to make amends so that they could put that on. I forgot to mention that about the ZBA, so that's done and good.
Thank you.
Sorry about that.
And number 8, Mr. Treasurer?
Reading my notes. I was reading all my notes. Yes, thank you. Everybody on the board, trustees, you should have received copies of the invoices and the disbursements. We have invoices this pay period in the amount of $503,292.46. as authorized by the board's purchasing policies. In that, we have a distribution tax-wise in the amount of $55,770.73. Therefore, we'll have a total of invoices and tax disbursements of $559,063.19.
So your motion is to,
Pay the $559,63.19.
I'll second it.
thank you. So, just in the future, because we have the ability to vote no, when you include the tax disbursement, that's probably why we don't, include the tax disbursements in with paying of the bills, so that we always pay them. But we'll take your motion to pay the bills and, the invoices and tax disbursements in the amount of $559,063.19. Any questions for Mr. Treasurer? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, roll call, please, to approve the motion to pay the bills in the amount of $559,063.19, please.
Trustee Burt?
No.
Trustee Favdal?
Yes.
Trustee King?
Yes.
Supervisor Miller?
Yes.
Clerk Triplett, yes. Treasurer Clee?
Yes.
And Trustee Leverett?
Yes.
Thank you.
Are there any correspondence or informational items? Alrighty, we move on to new business. Action item A is the first reading of rezoning case PZC 24-002, and it's located at 4150 Van Slyke Road. So this is the first reading this evening to change that zoning. Did you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, this is just the first reading of the rezoning ordinance. It is, it's available for anybody to look at if they wish.
Is that the building department or the clerk's department?
It's online.
Thank you.
And it's, I mean, it's available either place. But it's basically, it's for parcel 0735-200-015, more commonly known as 4150 Van Slyke. It is currently zoned O-1, and they are looking to rezone it to industrial, which does fit in with the future land use map has it listed as industrial, and the planning commission did review it and offered a unanimous recommendation of approval. You don't have to vote on anything on this evening, but this will be posted in the paper for the final reading for Monday. It'll be posted in the paper this week.
Tracy, if you don't mind, there was it looks like there's a typo in there on that particular request. If you look at page, excuse me, I'm flipping through, I think it's page 10. It says 4150 Torrey Road, it should read 4150 Van Slyke.
Right?
Is that,
It's
does
on Van
everybody
Slyke,
It
right?
is on Van Slyke. Does
Yeah, we
everybody see
corrected
that?
that already.
It's
the auction house.
It's the old auction.
Oh,
Does
is that,
everybody?
we print it before it was corrected?
Yeah.
Everybody
It's-
is
Oh, okay.
correct. Yeah.
All right, because the one
So
now
we're
shows
just
correct.
wipe out Torrey and make it Van Slyke and we're good. And the old MESC building. It's the MESC building.
Yeah, this is what was sent to us, but the correction is on the next page.
It's on the
there.
next page, right?
here.
Yep, down at the bottom.
Yep.
Okay, so there's the first
So-
reading. Thank you. We'll go on to action item B.
What was that?
Is a public hearing. Oh, did you, I'm sorry. Did you have
I know
anything
we
you wanted
talked-
to say?
We talked about that already, but.
No, we have another opportunity to do that.
We move on to action item B. Is the public hearing for the JAG grant, fiscal year 2024. Did you have anything you wanted to say before we open the public hearing, Chief Winkler?
No, everything was just included in the board packet, just a requirement of soliciting this grant.
Alrighty, we're gonna open up the public hearing. This is an annual process that must be undertaken for Flint Township to continue receiving the Justice Award grant monies. And if you have any input, anything to say in regards to how that money's used, you can speak during the public hearing. You'll have 3-4 minutes to address the board if you had anything to say, specifically on the JAG grant. One at a time now.
Do I have to give my name again?
We know you're Keith Powers.
Keith Powers. How much is it And how is it spent?
So this grant is annually, since my predecessor, Lieutenant Baldwin, oversaw the grant, now Lieutenant Nemechek does. So the total award for fiscal year 2024 is $129,964. Flint Township has remained the fiduciary for several years in this particular grant. We are one of 5 organizations that receive monies from this, with the other municipalities being the City of Flint, City of Burton, Mount Marsh Township, and Genesee County.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who'd like to speak during the public hearing for the JAG grant? No? I didn't check and see what time we opened it. My guess is
24.
6:24, and we'll close it at 6:25. Since no one else wanted to speak. Alrighty, we'll move on to action item C, Madam Clerk.
Okay, so we have a software that, where is it at?
What's that?
Don't we vote on it for the JAG grant?
Next
We
time.
voted to.
Or just for the public hearing, that's it?
Just a public hearing needs to be held regarding it.
We voted previously for my signature on.
The application has been submitted, it's just a requirement for this particular grant to have a public hearing.
Thank you. I'm sorry, Madam Clerk.
Nope, sorry. We have a motion to approve a contract with Civic Plus for our software and streaming services. Right now, we're with Granicus. And if you look on the pages there, we have the quotes to show you the difference in the cost breakdown.
Page 15.
At the top of page 15. I'm sure everybody's looked it over already, since you got your agenda packet on Thursday.
So you are making the motion to, we have Granicus, you want to go with Civic Plus for the agenda and software? Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second it.
Thank you.
Any questions for Madam Clerk or her deputy?
I have some questions. So, so when would this begin? Is, I guess, the first question.
It would begin the beginning of the year. Right now, our contract with Granicus is kind of like month to month because we've been putting it off. We've been looking at other software companies to compare and see who's best, who could service us better than the others. Civics Plus was the top. And they offer other.
Yep. We signed with Granicus in January of 2017. We had a 5-year contract, so now we're month to month. And, I forgot what I was gonna say on that. Is this a 5-year contract?
3.
3-year. Yep, there it is.
And this one's gonna be much easier?
It will actually provide a little bit more service to us, and it should actually help the other clericals to be able to, it should be user-friendly.
Okay, thanks.
I know what I was gonna say. Granicus is not servicing this current software. As you can see on the quote, they're, and to continue with Granicus the cost would go up significantly.
And the biggest difference, as Barb was asking if it's easier to use, biggest difference between Civics Plus and Granicus is that the reports that are on Granicus are set up, they're proprietary. So if we need to change anything, we have to call them. You won't have to do that with this software.
And the figures are how much of a difference for the public? No?
Page 17 breaks it down there for you.
So theirs came up to 102,327.
Over a 3-year period, yeah.
34 cent.
That was Granicus. Yeah.
Right. And so we're going with this company here, Civic Plus, because it's going to end up being $41,910, right?
3 years.
3 years.
Yep.
Yeah, we're saving, and like I said, it should be a little more user-friendly, and it offers other services as well. And we don't have to, there's a lot of things we can implement on the administration part that we can't with Granicus right now.
Receive the
Website
information.
and things
I
like
got the
that.
information.
Okay. Yep. Over $70,000 savings, yeah. Let's mention that.
So there's a motion and a second to contract with Civic Plus for agenda and minute software for $14,850 yearly. right? No, that's initial, and 13,200 yearly for 3 years. There's no further questions. Madam Clerk, roll call please on purchasing the Civics Plus agenda and minutes software for a 3-year period.
Trustee Favdor,
Yes.
trustee Leverett,
Yes.
treasurer Clee,
Yes.
trustee Vert,
Yes.
trustee King,
Yes.
clerk Triplett, yes, supervisor Miller.
Yes.
Thank you.
Action item D, Madam Clerk.
Okay, motion to accept recommendations by the Personnel Committee to increase deputy clerk stipend by 5,000. We have less manpower, and instead of hiring a whole one individual, which would cost us even more, along with health coverage and all those other costs, retirement, we're looking to increase the deputy stipend. I think everyone knows that the deputy or clerk deputy does more than just the deputy work. She assists all throughout the township with others in their department as well. And it actually would save us rather than hiring a full-time employee.
So you have a motion, right? Is there a second to the motion?
I second it.
Any questions or discussion?
Yes.
Who am I going with, Carol?
Carol, lead this.
Carol seconded that.
Okay.
Go ahead, trustee Vert.
Well, I'm just gonna say, I'm not in support of this, because if we are that busy, are we gonna, the other election workers, are we gonna give them a raise too, or
What other election were the part-time people that I get grieved for?
part-time? or
No, we
right.
won't have those anymore. You know, I've received 6 grievances for part-time help.
And we do have a temporary full-time person that isn't here all the time, right? The board approved?
Who was that? Oh,
I'm not
the
gonna
young
say.
lady. No, she's not even,
So we could have hired another temporary full-time, right? If the other one didn't work out. And does that mean that during this time that we waive the wages for the other title she carries?
no.
There's 2 jobs, and we're not getting economic development, so, I don't see where we'd have to hire a permanent person. And elections are always busy.
Yeah, very busy.
It is busy, yeah.
And it's sometimes it gets difficult trying to do it with part-time, simply because, like I said, I've been grieved probably about, in the last month, at least 6 times for part-time help. But sometimes when you have a job, you take lemons and you make lemonade. And that's what we've been doing. And it's constantly costing us, because when we have a grievance, of course, you know, we have to involve the attorneys. And I'm sure, you know, that's something you're always concerned about is attorney fees.
But that's just part of it. So, so who would your deputy report to?
As far as in the clerk's department?
Right, if
Yeah,
you-
it would be me.
So what do we do with her other job?
She would still have her other job. The DDA.
And no, with economic development.
I mean, yeah, with economic development through the DDA, which pays part of her.
Sorry, Tracy, I mean, you're sitting right here, but, you know, it's just, yeah, it is what it is.
Which is
That's
part
what
of
it
But it's
where
just,
her,
you know, so
her salary
for that
comes from.
job, she,
65% of that comes from the DDA.
I know, but she has to report to Karen also.
Yeah.
So
And I don't
how's
think
that,
she's
how's
had a
that
problem
work?
For
with that.
10% of my job is Karen, yeah.
We get a weekly report.
You
I think
know,
we just recently received one.
we? Who's we?
Karen and myself.
Yeah, from our staff meetings, we request that all the staff do a weekly report, and that's been going well.
I just can't justify it. It just doesn't make any sense. It's busy, it's always busy election time, it's always a presidential election. You just buckle down, you do the work, and there's other people that are really busting their butt.
Yeah, we
And
all
so,
are.
and we're not increasing their pay, whether they're part-time, temporary, or whatever, so I'm voting no.
Is this permanent, or is it for this year?
It would be
The
for this.
presidential election?
Mhm.
All right. Any other questions or discussion, or anybody? We have a motion and a second on the increased stipend for Deputy Clerk Tracy Tucker in the amount of $5,000. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Trustee Fabdal?
Yes.
Trustee King?
Yes.
Supervisor Miller?
Yes.
Clerk Triplett, yes. Treasurer Clee?
Yes.
Trustee Leverett?
Yes.
And Trustee Vert?
No.
Thank you.
Announcements, number 11. Our next meeting is November 18th, here, 6 PM, and there's no further business. Oh, I wanted to let the trustees know that demolition started on Myrtle Green Gym last week, and, no, some of, they started, but Consumers Energy wanted to turn off the power at the curb to take power away from the entire park. So once they get that done, it'll resume, hopefully tomorrow or Wednesday, for sure by the end of the week. I just wanted everyone to know that.
And they had the fire in there, remember?
Yeah, they had the
One of
fire
many.
the morning of
It
when
should
we
take down
started.
our cost. They're gonna take down our cost in the demo.
So with that said, once that's done, we'll jump to Cinema 10, is that correct?
It's not us, that's Bernash. And they also have stuff they're doing for the county.
Right.
So they have a lot of work to get done. Hopefully, Cinema 10 and Myrtle Grove will be completed by Thanksgiving, for sure by the end of the year. Alrighty. So if there's no further business and without objection, we'll call the meeting adjourned.
Thank you. Been playing with that gavel today,